Yeah, my mind's just a little groggy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Nerds Corner. I didn't mean to cut you out there because sometimes the videos, when you play the intro, does mute you. But yeah, this is Nerds Corner with episode four. It's your host and your co-host, Way the Lock and Alan the Lone Wolf. Our guest here today is John David, or as you can see in the very bottom of the screen, you got, if I'm saying this right, Dave Struction 88.
That's correct.
Now, if you want, for the moment, you can, take the spotlight and tell people about yourself, your channel, what you do, and whatnot.
Okay, yeah. First off, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks
welcome.
for taking the time and asking me to be here.
Yeah.
Definitely could use the exposure. But I am John David, aka Dave Struction. I have two YouTube channels, The Reset Button and Boomsticks and Pewtwigs. I also have a TikTok, Dave Struction 88. Instagram, same, Dave Struction 88. I do have a backup account that's supposed to be specifically for what I do for a living. But Instagram keeps taking the content down because they don't really
I've never
like
had that problem with Instagram.
Yeah, they don't really like pew pew content very much. They actively suppress it, so it's really hard to run that one when everything keeps getting taken down. So, but that one doesn't get used too much, so I'll just stick with my main account. And then I also have the same channels on Rumble as well.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I'm content creator, firearms instructor, legal shield representative, husband, father. I do a lot of things.
Okay. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna wing it right now because normally I do my research, but I didn't have time to dig too much into it. But you did mention you were a firearm expert. Instructor. So that would mean you probably have knowledge in a lot of firearms. So what would you say is your favorite firearm?
Oh, that's an easy question. It's either the 2011 or 1911 platform. It was designed by a genius, and there's not a whole lot of improvement that could be made. And then the 2011 came out, so which accepts double stack magazines and which you can have 9mm now and be a viable carry option if you want it to be. So yeah. That's my favorite platform is the 2011 or 1911 platform, either in 45 or 9mm. I typically go 9mm because, 9mm because I'm a lot more proficient in 9mm now than I used to be in 45 because 45 is expensive. So yeah, 9mm.
I don't mean to interrupt, but is it like that expensive to where, like, if you have to use it, you fire it and you go, all right, give me the bullet back?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, let me get that bullet. Let me get that back from you, buddy. Let me take that one out.
It's like, I'm just gonna need that. Gotta reuse it.
No, it's for a while there it was pretty dang expensive. It's now prices have come back down to a little bit more reasonable. Okay. But I stick with 9mm typically because you need to train with what you're most proficient with and what you can afford. So 9mm is where it's at right now. I currently carry a PSA dagger chambered in 9mm. I got a 507C Hollow Sun red dot on top of it, and it's got a lot of bells and whistles and a lot of fun, cool stuff that the ATF and legislators don't want me to have on it.
I'm going to be completely honest. I knew a little bit about what you said, but it was like hearing another language.
Oh, okay. So
when I heard I understood the dagger. I think you said red dot sight. I knew that. When you said dagger, like you mean like an actual like a dagger?
No. That's just what the particular pistol is called.
Oh.
Yeah. PSA is Palmetto State Arms. That's the company that makes the pistol that I currently carry. And dagger is basically their Glock 19 clone. But it's got a lot better trigger on it, and it's a lot ergonomically better, in my opinion. I don't really like Glocks that much. And it's mainly because of the trigger. Otherwise, but that's personally why I don't like Glocks. I don't like the triggers on them. I think a double action striker fired pistol is silly. And if you need me to explain what a striker fired pistol is, I could do that if you like.
Is it like a because I know some things, just not a lot, but is it like semi-automatic or is it like just like a normal?
Well, striker fires are always going to be semi-auto. So, there's not really a hammer with striker fire semi-automatic. So, if you've ever played pinball, right, like a pinball table, when you pull back the plunger, and you let it go, that's basically what a striker is once you rack the slide, round goes in the chamber, and then there's a spring with the firing pin that gets pulled back, this way, sorry, gets pulled back, and then when the trigger is released, it sends the striker forward and with the firing pin, and the firearm fires. So that's actually the preferred method of carry for most people, or most firearms professionals, because it's just ease of use. And actually, if I were to recommend a firearm for first-time shooters, I would recommend a striker fire semi-automatic, because there's not a lot of extra skill in handling that. There's still a lot of skill in handling a pistol, because like if we're being completely honest about firearms, the firearms world, pistols suck. Like they suck. Like your pistol is the firearm you use to get to your rifle. So,
I got you.
They're great for like up close and close encounters, but not great for sending rounds down 200 yards. I mean, you can certainly do that. There are people very skilled who can do that, but they're designed for self-defense ranges. So
okay. Now, when you said you were the instructor, what is like one of the challenging things that you had to do as an instructor?
Well, one, I had to get my skills to the point where I could consider myself somebody that people could rely on to teach them basic skills and advanced skills and defensive skills. And then I had to, one, train and get to the point where I felt confident enough that I could pass the two courses, because I'm certified through both the NRA and USCCA. I prefer the USCCA's curriculum because it's more up to date. And also the USCCA actually supported me quite a bit since I got my certification. NRA, they were kind of like, here, go be somebody. And it's like, guys, hey, I'm just kind of floating out there in the water of instructing, like,
but just looking out there like, you'll do fine. You'll do fine.
So the USC's kind of be like holding my hand, like, yeah, man, we're gonna be there with you, brother. We're gonna do it. And I've made a lot of connections through the USCCA and a lot of cool people. Actually, become friends with Mike Bauer, who is the regional director of the USCCA. So he's pretty up there in the USCCA. So he's a good friend of mine.
Okay. Let's see.
But also, like, so my instructor, and here's the thing: there's a bit of a kind of stigma right now for folks to become USCCA instructors, because some people who have been certified instructors don't have the level of scrutiny that my instructor had. Because this is what my instructor had. His name is Graham Hunt. Fantastic individual, amazing instructor. If you're ever in the Springfield area, take a class from him. He's amazing. This is what he did for our shooting. There's like me and three others. He went out to our target. And he's like, I don't care what the USCCA says.
How do you? I don't mean pause you really quick, but how do you spell that name for your
Graham Hunt? For my instructor, it's just GRHAM HUNT. Graham Hunt.
HA. Okay, wait. GR. HA. Yep.
AHM.
Oh, AHM. Okay,
yes.
And then Hunt. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Hunt.
There we go.
What he did was he went out there and he drew the cardiovascular triangle on our targets, and he went, if you hit outside this, you fail.
Oh.
And then we shot at the ranges we were supposed to shoot, and we shot twice. And then once we were done, he brought them all back in. He checked them, he graded them, and brought us back to class. He's like, okay, by the way, I lied. I wanted to put the pressure guy on you guys, and you successfully passed.
Huh.
Because I think you have to pass like 85% like that.
Yeah.
Within that, and the ranges you have to shoot at are 3, 5, and this is yardage 3, 5, 7, 10, and or rewind. No. Hold up. I have it written down somewhere. 1 second. I actually can pull this up. Hang on one moment.
So what he basically did was like he kind of like gave you guys a kind of like, hey, if you do this, you're gonna fail. Oh, there's a word for it.
It was incentive. It was like
Yeah,
it was he fibbed a little bit to put the pressure on us, which I really appreciated actually. Oh, dadgummit, I hit the wrong button here.
I don't know. I think you don't see a lot of stuff like that nowadays. Like I feel like people's gotta do that's depending on the situation. I think people should do that.
I think that like and as an instructor myself, sometimes I'll put the pressure on my students to be like, here's the thing, shooting should be fun. It should be fun. All right. It is fun. It's a lot of fun. If you get out to a range, go throw some rounds down range, as long as you do it safely and you do it properly, it's a great time. It's a great hobby, a lot of fun. But sometimes when you are training to improve your skill, you need that pressure. And I'm very grateful that Graham did that.
And then, so while you're, if you're still looking up the numbers, one thing I do want to know is, because like I'm interested in knowing what got you into the hobby of like guns and becoming an instructor. Like, were you like, did you serve at all, or like, was it something that just got you like into this hobby?
My dad got me into it. No, I didn't serve in the military.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I apologize, folks, who are watching and listening to us. I've had a respiratory infection, so I'm still got junk in my lungs. Anyway, my dad got me into shooting when I was a kid. I was about, I think, 11 years old. Before then, he gave me an air rifle, like a pellet gun or BB gun, when I was 5, and I shot that very often in the backyard, set up some targets and pop cans, and would bullseye those. And then when I was 11, my dad took me out shooting for real. And we had shot 22 rifles. We shot shotguns, a couple pistols that either friends of his would have or so I've been shooting for well over 20 years as a hobby. But like I started, like my skill became to the point where like I need to challenge myself, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and I would take my friends out shooting and stuff, and they would be like, they would get annoyed with me because they would say stuff like, okay, could you stop out shooting us this bad? Because we can't compete. Like, this is like, if we were to bet a lunch, you're going to win every time.
Yeah.
And so, I got to a point in my life where I was like, man, I really don't like being an employee. And so I was wondering, I was like, how do I, like, can I use this skill to make money?
Yeah.
And again, I didn't think of it as a like get rich quick scheme.
Well,
but
it's one of those. So my mom, I think it was my mom or my dad or someone in my family always taught me like if you do something for fun, like it's one of those like if you do something for fun,
if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
The way they told me was like if you do something fun, make it a job or make money out of it, so that way you can like support yourself but also enjoy your thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so you want it for the money. You're just one of those. It's like I don't want to work this 9 to 5. I don't want to have a boss. I want to be I want to be my own boss. And like I want to make some money, but I want to have some fun doing it. I get you. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's just I was wondering if I could, just if there was because I love it. I love shooting. I love teaching. Yeah. I love everything really about firearms. I really do. Like I love teaching people about freedom. I love teaching about the basic civics and helping people practice their civil rights and one of those is the Second Amendment and being able to protect yourself, and I'm very passionate about that.
Okay. Alan, you got any questions for him?
Yeah, what made you decide to become a firearm instructor?
Oh, well, that's a great question. It was more so coming to a point in my life where like I had been in several different industries, and again, like I said earlier, I hated being an employee. Like I still deliver pizzas right now because honestly, people aren't paying for training right now. Like but also I need to build the business. I need to do a better job about getting myself out there. But I was just kind of at a very low point, and I was out at the range with a buddy of mine, and I was like, man, do you think I could teach people this and they would pay me money to do this? He's like, are you just now having this thought? He was annoyed at me.
He was like, you've been doing this for how many years?
He was like, we've been coming to the range together for how long? And you're just now having this idea? And I'm like, but what? I have ADHD. Leave me alone.
Usually the best ideas are like midway through when you should have had it.
Right. And then my wife, she encouraged me. And then like I made the decision to raise some money so I could. There's one event that I really wanted to go to that cemented this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Okay.
It was Train and Learn from No Other Choice Firearms. The guy who's also a mentor of mine, Kevin Dixie. He's, or KD as he's called. He puts on that every year. He now does it in Atlanta, Georgia now because that's where he is and that's where his compound is. He used to do it here in St. Louis. So first 3 years it was here in St. Louis, or first 4 years, sorry, because they did the 2019. They had to skip 2020. So 2000 or 2021, 2022, 2023. So yeah, 3 years. Yeah, all right, that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, they did it here in St. Louis, and then when he moved eventually to Atlanta and started doing his compound this year, they had it at Atlanta, Georgia, and Train and Learn, where I got to meet titans of the industry. I got to meet some people who I'd only ever seen in YouTube videos. Like I got to meet Rob Pincus, because if you Google him, the guy is an amazing trainer. I got to train with him for a bit. That first year, I got to meet the guys from Tactical Life, who make a crap ton of suppressors. They're the guys who are responsible for the takedown AR that fits into a backpack.
I never heard about. Wait, maybe I have. I think I think I might have heard of them.
But yeah, Tactical Life, they're the guys that pioneered that particular style of AR. Huh. So I got to meet them, and I'm still in contact with the guy who's the head of that. I got to meet the marketing director at the time for Brownell, and a company I'm currently in very good talks with right now, and in very good relationship, Mantis. They're a dry fire system, and I got to meet all these amazing people, who I'd only ever seen them in like YouTube videos or like advertisements or even freaking magazines, and KD and a few others. KD, a gentleman by the name of Chris Lyle, Mike Bauer, like I mentioned before, the owner of Carolina Custom Foam, and then there was one more person who helped like put up money so I could get my USCCA certification. So like I owe my career to these people. I'm trying to make good on their investment. Because like when someone puts money into you and says, hey, I'm going to help you build your dream, here's some money, go do it, there's a lot of pressure on you to go do it. And those guys are amazing. I think they're amazing people, amazing instructors. They also have their own podcasts and stuff like that. And if you see a USCCA ad, typically it's going to be Mike's bearded, beautiful face. So
that sounds familiar.
So he'll typically be the person that you see. Yeah. But I've also got to meet other folks. I got to meet just a it's a long list, and I really wish that I would have wrote some of these down.
It's basically like going into this like business or into this like hobby. You meet a lot of people that expand your knowledge on the interests that you have and helps you grow. I gotcha.
Yeah.
I was gonna say one of the things I can relate with when you were saying you had you and your buddy, and it was like you're just now having this idea. I had my best friend. He was telling me I should do comedy, because most of the jokes I do around my friends is revolves around my trauma. And he's like, dude,
Right.
you should do the comedy. Like, it's like it's one of those when I try to be funny, nothing happens. But when I have my like just random moments, people start laughing. And just recently I started doing it, and he was like, he was like, why? It's like, oh, why have you done? It's like, why have you done this sooner? And now he's trying to help me, be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, and that's a very it is a tumultuous task getting into that. It's I have a lot of
I was gonna bite my tongue, because when you were mentioning the who's the people that made the rifle in the backpack.
Oh yeah, the takedown AR.
So the takedown. The takedown AR. There was a school shooter joke there, but I was like, nah, that's too easy.
that's lazy. That's lazy writing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is definitely lazy writing. As an instructor, like, what would you say your funniest moment? Like, what's the funniest thing as an instructor that you saw?
Oh, I've got so many stories. This is funny. I got two.
Okay.
So, I used to. I was at a range that I don't currently do any business with anymore, because there's a personal thing. I'll keep that personal. But anyway, I was out there just kind of doing my thing. My student. I just got done with my student. My student left, and I decided that I was going to stay and shoot for the day.
Yeah.
And just work on my own skills. And there was a police officer that came in, and I looked over and kind of noticed that he was, he had some issues with his grip. Yeah. And I'm looking over, and he's doing something funky with his grip, and I kind of top him on the shoulder. Hey man, I introduce myself to him, like, hey, my name is John David. I'm tell him who I am, and tell him I'm certified USCCA instructor and stuff like that. It's like, do you mind if I help you with your grip? Because like I noticed that you're kind of shanking your shots down and left, and maybe you might want to tighten that up a little bit. Is it okay? And he's like, I know what I'm talking about, and he got in my face. I'm like, all right. Well, what he was doing was, if I could do a proper grip just with my fists, it's called thumbs forward grip. This is a proper grip with a firearm. All right.
Yeah.
Where you wrap your hand around your offhand around the firearm, take both thumbs and point them towards the target. What he was doing was crossing his thumbs. On a semi-automatic, that's a bad idea, because the slide moves back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So
that's how you could damage your thumb, right?
Yeah. So like I noticed he was doing that, and I went up to him. I was like, "Hey," it's like, "All right, you know what, man, cool." I'm sorry. I'll just let you go back to shooting. I'll apologize, man. You know what? You're a police officer. I'll let you do your thing, right? Yeah. I go back to shooting. I'm just kind of listening. I'm waiting for it. I'm like, bang. Get a couple shots off. All of a sudden, I hear bang. Fuck. And he had cut a big gash into his thumb because he wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
So he leaves I'm kind of giggling a little bit. He leaves over.
Sometimes the stupidest things are the funniest. I should know. I do the most funny. I do the same thing. I do stupid things and I laugh about it.
Well, so he goes and gets cleaned up, leaves the range. Because, you don't want to try to do first aid with inside the range. There's lead and gunpowder in the air, and it's pretty gross in there, breathing wise and medical wise. So he goes and gets cleaned up, he comes back, and he just got his hand wrapped, and he kind of taps me on the shoulder up in the middle of my set, and I bring my firearm, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, hey, would you mind showing me how to proper grip, please?
He was like a child after you told him to do something. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, and so I was gracious enough to
Hey.
like, all right. I was like, yeah, sure. And also, here's my card. Because I tried to give him free advice, and I was like, no, now you're gonna have to pay me. So,
You didn't listen the first time, so now we're gonna charge
he
you.
took a couple classes. We had a couple of private lessons. The first one I gave, I gave him a discount because I felt bad because he hurt himself, but at the same time, he needed to learn, and there's been a couple of students I've had where I've stopped them mid, because like I also do their CCW certifications, which is carry concealed firearm or carry concealed weapon. Some states use a different acronym, but most states CCW. But like I've had a couple students where like they're in the middle of their certification and they mess their grip up, and I'm like, no, ceasefire, put it down. What? No, ceasefire, put it down. And they're like, what? You cross your thumbs. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm like, that's fine, dude. That's why I'm here, so you don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So then we'll go back to shooting and stuff like that. But another funny thing. This is actually with my wife. So when I became an instructor, I decided that everyone in the house needed to learn. So I took my mother-in-law and took my wife out to to a local range, and we shot everything that we had. We shot both my shotguns, my AR, all my pistols, everything. Well, my wife gets my AR. She's never shot rifle before, right? She had the most fun with that. So she's giggling as she's shooting. She's like, she's like a little kid in the candy store and having a good time. So we bring so 2 mags later, we bring the target in, and I'm assessing her, and it's all really good stuff. Most of it's in the cardiovascular triangle, which is lungs, heart, and upper abdomen, with your stomach and intestines and stuff like that. That's typically where you want to aim in self-defense situations. But anyway, and then I noticed there was 2 shots on the head, and I'm like, well, hey, Andy, this grouping is really nice. Sorry about that. I got a text message. Oh, it's from my wife. Okay, I'll have to answer that in a moment. Anyway, but
it's like she knew.
She knew. But anyway, so we were. So I was like, Honey, these are really good shots right here, and but it looks like you're shooting a little high. And she's like, no, I did that on purpose. I'm like, bullshit. So we sit back out. She freaking lethal weapons me and draws a smiley face with my rifle.
Damn.
The AR is the easiest platform to learn, folks. It is simple. It's very easy to shoot. There's little to no recoil. My wife, who had never had any experience, at 15 yards outshot me, which I was a little turned on. I'll be honest. I was like, honey, I don't know if we can stay. I think we need to go to the car.
we need a private place.
So, but like, she drew a smiley face for it. We took pictures and everything, and I assume they're still on Facebook. But yeah, she learned and had a good time, and she didn't like my pistols, though. She didn't like my pistols or my shotgun, because she said they're a little too big and a little too snappy for her. So she,
as someone who fired, I can't remember what type of shotgun it was, but I used to go shooting with my dad and my uncle, and there was one shotgun he had. I cannot remember the make or the model, but he called it Big Bertha, and for a good reason. But anytime I would shoot it, I shot it twice. Right? It was either twice or 3 times. And when I would shoot it, it would have the meanest kickback. And at the time, I was skinnier than I am now, and that shit hurted.
Oh no, it's shooting shotgun is like, if you don't do it right, it's gonna hurt. Because my favorite things to shoot in the world are pistol and shotgun. I love pistol and shotgun. Like that's the my bread and butter. I love pistol and shotgun, and it's true when I play video games too, because I always have a loadout that's a pistol, like a pistol with a shotgun or a shotgun with a pistol or whatever. There is a method in which will mitigate the recoil, is the push-pull method, which is you pull the stock into your shoulder and then you pull the rest again like you're stretching it. So that will mitigate, especially if it's a manual shotgun, which is be pump or lever action. So it'll mitigate some of that recoil. Now, if it's semi-automatic, it helps a little bit, but the bolt on the shotgun, since it's semi-auto, will absorb some of that recoil. But like, it helps tremendously. And anytime I hear a horror story about a shotgun, I'm like, man, the only thing I've been there to help, kind of thing. So
I know. Oh man, if only I had the instructor. Damn it, I just realized that.
So do you have like any advice for anyone who's starting out with firearms?
Get some training. Get some training. Pay for training. Do dry fire. If you don't know what you're doing, it's better to just admit that and then get a professional to teach you. And then from then on, dry fire every day. Now, I know I say dry fire every day. This is also something I say to myself in the mirror, because I will typically, like, if I'm not on top of it, I'll forget. Like the past 19 days, I haven't dry fired at all because I've felt awful. Like I haven't really, well, especially those first 10 days where I was had 102 temperature. I didn't have the strength to even lift my pistol. So, but dry fire is the practice in which you get your muscle memory and your basics down. And if you do that every day, about 10 to 15 minutes, some people like to do 30 minutes, it'll get those skills hardwired into your muscle memory. So when you go to the range, you'll be able to be more accurate. So get yourself a class and dry fire. Let me also explain what dry fire means, because I forget that.
Yeah, because
it's over some people's heads. But dry fire is the practice of taking a firearm, pointing it at a safe wall in your house, making sure it's unloaded, because we want to be safe. But to practice the 4 rules of firearm safety, which I'll run those down in a moment. You want to point it at a safe wall, and you rack the slide or you rack the bolt. You practice your proper grip. You point it at the wall, click. Rack it again, click. Rack it again, click. You do that until you get all of those things hardwired into your brain. And you typically you can do it with anything. You can do it like a Post-it note. You can set up an action figure, or even if you're or doorknob, anything basically small that you would have to aim at, and then you can self-diagnose. Now, other things like Mantis will help with that, because it'll be a system or an attachment you can put on your firearm that will link to an app that will score your dry fire shots for that day.
Yeah.
So yeah, dry fire and take a class.
Okay.
You said that you deliver pizza through the firearm instruction, and being a father, how do you balance it all out? Yeah.
Very carefully, and lots of therapy.
I was gonna have the joke of that's the thing. That's the secret. He doesn't.
I don't. It's no. In all seriousness, yeah, it's content creation, being a firearms instructor, being a father, husband, and doing pizza delivery. It is a balancing act, and typically what I do when I'm not feeling awful, I'll get up at 5 a.m., help my wife get ready for work, send her on her way, get the kids ready for school. So they're out of the house by 8 o'clock. My mother-in-law takes them to school. And then I'll start my day. I will either get a workout in, do my meditation and readings, and spend some time in the Word of God. And then I will if I do that first, I'll do a workout, and then I'll start making phone calls and sending out emails to either promote my business as a firearms instructor, or I will be making phone calls as a Legal Shield representative and seeing if I can get businesses to allow me to come do a presentation. And content creation is whenever I can find time to do it. And right now it's kind of at the bottom of the list of the characters I portray, which is how Alan knows me, is he knows me from my content creation of all the characters I get to portray. And that's always fun getting to do that. But it's just being, and this is something I'm learning, it's being disciplined and being intentional about my day. If I'm not, chaos happens. There's times where from say 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's family time. Don't call.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer the phone. Like, I'm spending time with my wife and my kids. Now, we've incorporated doing things with our children. They're now at the age where both of them can like pick up a controller and play video games with us, and we will play like Mario Kart or Mario Party, something on the Switch typically, because that the Switch is the family system. That's the family console, and so we'll do that. And honestly, content creation has been at the low at the low of the totem pole, because there's a project I've been working on for a year and a half now. It's almost 2 years come October since I wrote it and shot it. It's called the Insecurities Project. My buddy Took, I guess, Alan, you know Took, I guess. He is he was actually the DM for a D&D podcast I was a part of for a whole year back in from 2022 to 2023, I think, if I remember correctly. And he's actually editing that right now. Problem is, the Insecurities Project is me using my writing and acting ability to work on the insecurities that I have within myself, because people who know me on a personal level know I have a lot of insecurities, which is why I go to therapy, so I can work on those. And as you said, like comedians, people who are creative, we typically use our trauma to fuel our art, and that's what it is. And since my buddy Took knows what I was going through when I wrote the Insecurities Project, he's over there editing, crying, just, Dave, I can't do it, man. It's so sad. I know what's happening. I'm like, dude, it's okay. I'll be with you when you're editing. So
you're gonna be like one of the companies that helped you. It's okay. I'm here. I'm gonna hold your hand for you.
Right. Like, I'm gonna have to be a firearms instructor for him while he's editing the video. So that's why I haven't really done a whole lot of creative content creation, and just been doing like daily videos about, hey, what are my goals for the day. I'm starting to get that back up and going again because of being part of the Solutionary Lifestyle, which is spearheaded by Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter. You check him out. He's very intelligent, very amazing instructor. I got to hook up with him recently, and some amazing other people through the Solutionary Lifestyle. And the Solutionary Lifestyle is like 9 things you should do every day anyway, but it's a challenge to get all those 9 things done, and so that you can have a solution-based lifestyle.
Okay. Oh shoot! I had a question. I flipping escaped my mind. Oh no! I should have wrote it down. Oh no, that's the way it was. So because my laptop battery is almost low, and also we're hitting the 30-minute mark. But before we go, I was gonna add a funny story. I can't remember. It was. So I'm telling this story since you're an instructor, and I'm not gonna say names, otherwise. The person I know probably won't like me telling this story out loud, but it's way funny. So the context of it, the incident that happened. Now, mind you, he served in the military, and he's trained professional with guns. Like, he knows, like if I was to have him on this podcast, he would tell you like all the type of guns he has, what type they are, how to dismantle it, and whatnot. He's also very good with the shot. My best friend was telling me the story where I think he had to take some kind of medicine, and he took his pills last night. Well, not last night, but he took pills that night, and he must have remembered, oh shoot, I gotta clean my guns. Which, for those of you watching, hey, never clean your guns while under the influence of medicine or alcohol.
Always a bad idea. Always a bad idea.
So while he has the medicine, he's cleaning his gun. And every time I go over at the house and I sit at the table, I see that mark, and I just laugh to myself because my buddy told me the story. But he's sitting there at the table, and I guess he must have had one in the chamber still.
Oh,
and
no.
something must have happened that triggered that pulled the trigger, and it shot and it hit the table, and it either grazed or it didn't completely take off his finger, but it fucked his finger up.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the thing, is like never mix any kind of drugs or alcohol when you're operating a firearm. That includes herbage. It always, well, and before we leave, I'll go ahead and run down the four basic rules of firearm safety. One, never always treat every firearm as if it's loaded. Number two, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Number three, don't point your firearm at anything you're not willing to destroy. And number four, be aware of your target and what is beyond. If you follow those 4 rules, you'll be gold. But if you don't, you will mess things up.
You might end up like the one friend that I have that almost shot off his finger.
Yeah, so let's not do that.
Yeah.
So,
with that out of the way, again, thank you, John, for
John David, please.
John David, thank you, John David, for coming to the podcast. For those of you guys, as you can see down below, it says follow, subscribe. All you gotta do, type it in Google, and you'll see all his stuff. I did it. I found his Instagram, his TikTok. I found his Linktree. But yeah, John David, thank you again for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure meeting you. And with that out of the way,
that was a pleasure being here.
Yes. Alan, you got anything before we sign off?
Yes, and please follow all our social medias.
Oh yeah. So you can follow me at Way of the Lock or the Yin and Yang Show, which this is being broadcasted on. Alan there we go. As you can see, Alan the Lone Wolf, he always has the same name on every platform.
Right.
And we already talked about John David over there. I had to point this way, not that way.
Yeah, because like camera is backwards. It's like, wait,
yeah, that's what I'm like. Oh wait, I gotta go like that.
I know if I point this way because like we're all set up differently anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, guys. Again, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next episode. And we're gonna have the intro sign us off. So y'all have a wonderful night. Peace.
Take care.
There we go. Oh shit. There we go.